Hello and welcome to another edition of Cubfidentials, where we have the greatest Chicago Cubs coverage after dark. I am your producer, Mr. Cubfidentiality, aka Denzel Snipes, and we have a jam-packed show. We actually get to talk about. We got some good news. Cubs win! Cubs win several times. It's a little something, small victory, but hey, a dub's a dub. But like I said, we have a jam-packed lineup, and let's get our host in here. He is the Brooklyn bad boy with a beard that he's gonna keep because he made a promise to me and Debbie. So let's give it up for JB Ellis. Get in here.
What's going on, people? Another week of mediocre baseball. Mr. Confidentiality is awfully high right now on this 3-3 week. Cubs are losing tonight to the worst team in baseball, the Cincinnati Dreads. And it's not because they have dreadlocks, it's because they are horrible. But we're here to talk some Cubs baseball, so we're going to find some good topics to talk about. Of course, I'm going to ask my question that I ask every week. Will Ross be around next week? And if the answer is yes, I don't know anymore. I'm just lost. But here we are. We're going to get started. We're going to start out with Jenn coming in here. But I don't want to see Jenn. I want to see the two new additions to the Sideline Sports family. I want to show everybody.
There's one. Oh, that's my friend Gretchen. Sorry.
Look at how cute. Look at how cute.
Yeah, we literally just got home. We got two of them, Sari and Senya, and they have their own Instagram page too. So,
nice.
Yeah, I made it before I picked it up. My friend is making fun of me.
So, how's it going today, Jenn?
Great. We got puppy love in this house. Woohoo!
So
and I get to talk about a Happy Gate series too.
Let's talk about the team that I love to hate, that if you're a Cubs fan, you love to hate.
Yep.
Probably the biggest rival for the Cubs. And, we took a little flight down to St. Louis, and we won 2 out of 3, which is good. And I believe if I read correctly, they've won, I think, the last 5 series in St. Louis. So maybe we should play all our games in St. Louis.
I mean, I'm game. It'll give us a winning record,
I think at Wrigley Field, we're just going to play, in St. Louis.
Exactly. I mean, apparently it's our good luck charm.
It seems that way.
We did come back from that 5-0 deficit, which was an awesome feeling. I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch that game at all or watch any of the replays?
I saw the ending of it. It was a great game. Mm-hmm. I thought they were done, and before you know it, it was a tie game, and they were winning in extras, which is always nice. I have my own personal beef with the Cardinals, so anytime I see the Cardinals, I won't share it on the air, but I definitely got beef with the Cardinals. We could talk about it, off the air, But I will say, if there's any team that I ever want to see go 0-162. It's the Cardinals. There's not a thing they could do to make me ever want to see them win a game, And this comes from a guy who worships Ozzie Smith. I think he was the greatest shortstop of all time. I made it a purpose to go to the 96 All-Star game. I believe it was 94, 96 when it was in Philadelphia, his last All-Star game, just so I could see Ozzie play in his last All-Star game. But at this point, where the Cardinals are, 0-162 would be too good for them. They should be demoted to AAA.
Well,
yeah, I don't hold back.
Yeah, I can see you have a lot of love for them there.
Yes, they are my least favorite. Well, no, the Red Sox could beat up on Tampa Bay because they give us a hard time, but that's about it. So Let's talk about the series. Let's break it down. So it was we won the first game, lost the second game, and then the great comeback in Game 3. So let's start with the first game on Friday night, the 24th. A nice shutout, 3-0 victory. Mm-hmm. Hendricks did, hit or miss with Hendricks. Either he's phenomenal
or he's off.
Or he's given up how many home runs. So this was a great night for him. What was the key for him to be on against the Cardinals?
I think he was just zeroed in and focused. I don't know if what it was necessarily. I just think he was zeroed in, focused. He knows they have a winning record, and he just wanted to expand upon that winning record. Or maybe, like I said they should do at the beginning of the season. They stood in the locker room and sang "Kumbaya." I don't know, but something worked.
So, I mean, they only got 3 runs the first game of the series. Not a great offensive output.
Right.
When you look at it, you got to give Hendricks the credit for pitching a great game. Horner hit his 4th homer, and Happ, came through and drove in the other couple of runs.
Yeah, Happ had a really nice sharp line drive. So, and Christopher Morel scored. So, I don't know. I like Morel. I like Happ and Morel and Contreras together, but I know we all kind of think Contreras might be leaving. So,
yeah, we'll definitely find out about that as the July approaches and we go into the long month of July with the All-Star break and then the trade deadline. But 3 runs to start the series, not a great week, great start. What do the bats have to do to start putting more runs on the board?
Well, I mean, they left 12 bases loaded. So, I mean, when we got loaded bases, we got to take it home because this could have been a better game. The Cards only did that with 6. So we got to get it going, but I don't know. I don't really want to gripe too much about this. I want to kind of focus on the positivity of this series because we needed those wins really bad. And I know we're supposed to focus on some of the positivity or negativity, but we just have to pull it all together and not make stupid minor league game mistakes. And, by minor league, I mean Ed Matthews, there's Matthews Athletic Recreation Association. So minor little league, kind of similar, but, the minor little league team, just, sorry, I was trying to make a joke. But
So Hendricks has 25 career starts against the Cardinals. He is 13-3, 6-1 all-time at St. Louis. And out of 25 starts, 18 of them big quality starts. So for whatever reason,
he's
maybe
on fire
just pitch him against the Cardinals, because he's unbelievable.
Yeah, he knows he's their elixir. Yeah, he was phenomenal with them. Like we said, Hendricks is either on or off. He seems to be really on against the Cardinals. And that's, I don't know. I had so much to say and my brain's brain dead right now. So I'm sorry, JB. But yeah, Hendricks had a great game.
You have puppy brain right now. It's understandable.
I do. I'm really excited.
I'd be excited too. So I definitely get that. Believe me, that's really, they're adorable. You're welcome. So, all right. So get through game 1. Hendricks, obviously money when it comes to pitching against the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Start out with a great start, So you go into game 2, first inning, give up 2 quick runs, start behind, and before you know it, the game gets away and you lose.
Right.
And, just the opposite, Mikolas, just like Hendricks, but except he pitches a get for St. Louis, 11 starts for St. Louis, a 2.06 ERA in 13 games and 11 starts against the Cubs. So as long as Hendricks and Mikolas don't pitch against each other, it looks like those games are going to go Cardinals Cubs. But what was the turning point of game 2 that they just couldn't do anything?
I think they got in their own heads, and I think that's what happens a lot when they just get in their own head and they kind of see the mistakes that they're making and they shouldn't be making. And I mean, and like I said, they know what they're doing wrong. So I don't understand what the issue is. And my screen just froze too. So sorry. Give me a second.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
not on today, and I'm usually a little more on, but that's okay.
it's no big deal. I mean, the Cubs did come back in the eighth inning. They tied up the game. It was 3-3.
Yep.
Especially after being down early, having to come back, and then bottom of the eighth comes, just like that. There goes the tie, down 5-3, and before you know it, the series is tied up in one.
Mm-hmm.
It just Leiter came in, pitched the eighth, gave up 2 runs. Don't know if he's cut out to be in the majors. What's your thoughts on Leiter?
I'm still undecided. I think he's good for a little while, for a little bit, for a little. I don't want to use pizzazz. That's just the word coming to my head. But I don't think he's long for the MLB. I really
Okay.
don't. I
I,
mean,
no, I definitely hear you. I mean, it's something to look at because he just hasn't been doing well. If
correct.
I'm correct, they sent him down earlier in the year. They brought him back up. And looking at the offense, 12 strikeouts. You only get 27 outs in a 9-inning game. They 12 strikeouts out of 33 at bats. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about that throughout. That's been a constant conversation we've had.
It has been. We got to get it together. We got to get it. Why are we striking out so much? That's my question.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they could do, what they could do to get the bat on the ball. I mean, make productive outs. It's one thing you only get 27 of them in a 9-inning game, so it's one thing to hit a sac fly or sacrifice a runner or hit the ball the other way to move the runner from second to third. Those are productive outs. You could deal with giving up an out here or there, but when you go ahead and you're just striking out 12 times, that you have no chance of doing anything when you strike out. Runners don't move. You're not putting any pressure on the defense. What's the key to being better with that?
At this point, I think it's just like I've said stuff like this all along. You've heard me on other shows. I'm like the queen of positivity. I think that it really takes a lot. And I think that they're in their heads. And I think that they're not focused on the good things they're doing as opposed to, because we've discussed many times, like at the beginning of the year, we were like, is it pitching? What is it? And we've decided it's not really pitching. So it's more, I feel like they just have to get on the same page as a team, focus on the positive things that they're doing and make that seep in. Because when they're doing that and they're showing confidence in that, and by positivity, I mean, it sinks into the confidence in each other, trusting each other, faith in each other to do their jobs. And we haven't had that since we got rid of the, sorry, it was getting loud out there. We haven't had that since the team kind of was, imploded by the Ricketts. I'm sorry. So
Well,
that's
they
what I
act
think.
like Don Rickles. They are pretty funny, so I definitely can understand that. I see where you could get that Freudian slip.
Right.
So now, looking at Game 3, Game 3 was really Contreras' day.
Yes.
3 RBIs. He did it all. 2 hits.
And Ian Happ had a great catch that saved them too. And the bottom of the ninth, he saved bases loaded with an awesome hit because that would have been 3.
Yeah. So what was your thoughts on, first of all, again, being out to a huge deficit, not scoring, and then showing the heart to come back, in the 4th inning, down 5-0, and then keeping them, after the first 3 innings, not giving up runs, and Contreras coming up big again, winning the game.
Yeah, that just goes to show they have the talent, they have the skills. I think they were singing Kumbaya before too. But I'm going to keep saying that too. One day they will listen and start singing it. But I think that's where the whole, my husband will say he doesn't need positive reinforcement. Every single person out there needs positive reinforcement. So when you're having games like that, and when you try, because they tried to come back on Saturday, But when you're trying and you're just missing like one or two pieces and you can fix those pieces even internally, I think that's what happened. And it all kind of fell together for them. And they just really worked together as a team. The offense was on, the D was on. Like that, what Hap caught, I was okay, so should admit that, but we were watching a replay of it in the car on the way home, and I was stuck in traffic, so my husband was holding my phone, and he and it was just awesome when he caught that. So I think they all just came together, and that's what needs to happen. They need to have that faith and positivity and believe in each other, because when they have that, that's when it comes together. That's when you have your crazy fun plays and I don't know if I'm doing a good job of articulating, but I'm happy about it because I know what I'm trying to say. So.
I definitely do. So, Cub or dud? The Cubs are going to get 2 All-Stars, and if so, who are they going to be?
I say, okay, I see 1 and a P. So, and if you play spades, you know where I'm going. But I would say if we get 1, it'll be Contreras. And then if he's still with us. You don't think so?
No, I definitely think he is. Who's your possible?
I kind of think Morale, but I don't know if he's been in the league long enough, to be honest with you.
I don't know if he'll make it, only because of, but, I definitely think that Contreras is in. So, Jen, great job as usual. Love the puppies.
Thanks, JB.
Can't wait to see them again. Before you go, tell everyone where they can find you.
Usually you can find me on 3 Chicks in a Pod. Sorry, ladies. I lost internet connection for a very long time. But on Tuesday nights at 7:30, obviously on Cubfidential during the NBA and NFL season, you can find me on the Carousel on Monday night and Thursday night. You can also find me on Mr. Jacob Christner and the Pundits Pundit on Thursday night as well. And then you can find me on, I think that's it. And Basket Bros. I produce. You won't see me on, but I produce. So check us out. And apparently Will wants you on really bad, and he's been saying that. And yes, Will, you can meet my puppies soon.
Yes, I'll definitely come on. We'll work it out. 1 week definitely being on there. But Jen, go play with the puppies. Have a great night, and great job as always.
Thanks, JB. Talk to you later, my friend.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So the next person needs no introduction, but we're going to introduce him this way for the rest of the show. We got Stanley Cup Long coming on to talk about the Pirate series. So what's going on, Stanley Cup?
Man, I feel great, of course, winning the Stanley Cup, watching my team do it. So I'm pretty happy, still on a Stanley Cup high, as you can tell.
So, I mean, we're going to have to bring it back down to reality because you're going to talk about the Pirate series. I mean, I guess winning the Stanley Cup is a lot more exciting than 4 regular season baseball games because, probably the hardest and most exciting playoff in sports. But, we're here to talk about Cubs baseball. Congratulations on the Cup. There are going to be a lot of Red Solo Cups in October for the Cubs because they're not going to be playing. What happened during the Pirate series? They lost 3 out of 4, a horrible loss in Game 4. The pitching, I mean, well, just trying to add it up pretty quickly. 32 runs, right? Yeah, it's 32 runs. I can't even imagine in 4 games giving up 32 runs to the Pirates. The Pirates. Explain this to me. Explain to me why there's a manager that, you know what it is? It's a 4-letter word. I can't use 4-letter words on the show. So why is there a manager that has a 4-letter word that still has a job?
I wish I could tell you why that 4-letter word has a job, but this Pirate series, it was definitely awful. Like you said, 32 runs given up. We've scored 23. 2 of those games were complete blowouts, really. I mean, lost Monday 12-1, didn't get any offense, barely got any pitching. I mean, we had 1 run on 10 hits, 4 walks, 18 strikeouts. The thing is, though, we had 13 men left on base. Imagine if those guys scored. We're in the game. But if you look at what we gave up, 12 runs, 11 hits, 6 walks, too many free passes. You can't do that. Then Tuesday, the Pirates scored a touchdown and got the extra point, 7-1. We did have a chance in that game to go up 1-0 in the first if Hap was at second and Winston at first, or Ortega flew out. That could have been a momentum swinger right there. You go up 1-0, but yet then you lose 7-1 in the end. Offensively, 6 hits. Not much production from the offense. Left 7 on base. With the pitching, though, 7 runs, 7 hits, 4 walks. I'll take that. 10 strikeouts. I mean, if you're going to get 4 walks and 10 strikeouts, you're supposed to win that game. Unfortunately, you gave up 7 runs. You can't have that happen. Luckily, Wednesday was actually a happy day. We got 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points. What do I mean by that? Won 14-5. But scored 7 runs in the second. So if you're doing that, I mean, that's great. You're getting offensive production. Second, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and 4 in the ninth. Allow the Pirates to score 1 in the second and 4 in the ninth. I have a problem with just giving up 4 runs in the ninth, but again, you were up so much that didn't matter. But overall, 14 runs on 13 hits. That's the production I like to see. 7 strikeouts, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 3 home runs. Overall, though, and if you look at the pitching, 5 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks. I like the strikeouts again, 11 strikeouts. 8 Pirates left on base. Thursday was just a heartbreaker. 8-7. You were tied at 7 going into the 10th inning. You know, we've talked on this show. I don't know if I really like the ghost runner at second. I always think there's a double that starts the inning. Unfortunately, though, we couldn't even score that. And then we let them go ahead and score in the bottom of the 10th with a hit from Chavez. Again, offensively, I liked what we did. 7 runs, 11 hits. I'll take the 11 hits. 4 walks. Problem is we've talked about this on the show. We're pressing at the plate. 11 strikeouts and 1 double. Left 7 on base. There's your difference. 7 guys left on base. Pitching-wise, 8 runs, 9 hits, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, 1 double in that game. Only left 5 on base. But if you look at the numbers, and we've talked about this, 32 runs given up is just unacceptable.
So 2 things I've noticed with looking at the 4-game series, and I'm going to start with the pitching. I mean, obviously the Cubs are having trouble with injuries for the starting pitching. I forget the guys' names who started game 1 and game 2. Killian, who's got an ERA of 10.32, pitched 3 games so far this year. Not good. So you're already behind the 8 ball, and obviously it was a blowout. Game 2, Matt Swarmer, he's 1-3 with an ERA of 5.84. I mean, how long till the Cubs start calling me to be a starting pitcher the way these guys are pitching?
It's got to be soon. I mean, we saw Hendricks have some struggles. Stroman's have struggles. I just look at what they did in free agency. I mean, I know Jacob Christner on here was so excited that we got Stroman. I wasn't too excited. I wanted another guy. I don't know who that would have been, but I thought Stroman wasn't the answer. And obviously I've been kind of correct, but it's just not the starting pitching. I mean, yeah, you want your pitchers to go 4 or 5 innings, and we're not getting that production. I think the problem is they're pressing right now because they know 1 or 2 bad innings and Ross is going to take the baseball. That doesn't give your starting pitchers any confidence. And then you go to the bullpen in the 4th, 5th innings, and then you're going to overwork them. It's just a combination of our starting pitching isn't really doing a whole lot. So Ross is just pressing. And we've talked about this on the show with that 4-letter word that he just doesn't know how to manage a baseball team, cut and dry. I don't know if they're looking right. I know they're looking at the scouting reports, but does the bullpen or the pitching coach look at that too? What message is he sending? Because we've seen times where he goes out to talk to these pitchers, and for some reason, it makes them worse.
So you brought up a great point, the extra inning rule, the guy on second. Now, first of all, we're got to be one of the most ridiculous rules in baseball that we just throw a guy at second base. Why arbitrarily we chose second base, not third base, not first base, maybe halfway between third and home, we have a pickoff play to start the inning. Why don't we start, this 10th inning with a guy on second, the 11th inning with 2 outs? We could just keep changing rules. But, I think a simple thing, and I want to hear your opinion on this, if we're going to start with a guy at second because it just changes the whole dynamic of the game, and it's not real baseball at that point, go to a point system for wins, losses, and ties. And, you get the win if you win the game in extra innings, but if you lose, instead of getting a loss, you get a tie, which will be points. 3 points for a win, 2 points for a tie, 0 points for a loss, or something like that, or 2, 1, and 0. So that this way, this extra inning rule doesn't hurt you. If you lose a game in extra innings, it's not the worst thing in the world.
I could see where you could go with that. The only problem is that would be a little weird in the standings. I mean, even hockey does it. I mean, I know we're not here to talk about hockey, but I see the point system, and sometimes I get a little confused about that. But the thing is and I told Steve Schwanda this, we have a local baseball team here in Grand Junction, Colorado, where I'm located, and it's a minor league team. Why not just do a home run derby at the end? It's basically like a shootout. I mean, and if you want to do it like a soccer game, because that's what they do, they don't go to extras. They actually have a home run derby. I'm not sure how that's really set up because I've tried to look up the rules and I get a little confused, but I know it's basically you're just having your pitching coach throw you a ball and hitting a home run. I think it's the best out of 5, but why not do that? And then obviously in the playoffs, you want to play extra innings. But the thing is, though, I think they're just like, you know what? These are professionals. We don't want to have ties. There's got to be something to break it. The only reason why they added the ghost runner was to prevent the long inning games. And honestly, I get it from that standpoint, but it's just like, I don't like the ghost runner because it confuses the heck out of me. And I just don't know if a point system would really work in baseball.
See, I think that, once you put a runner on, you throw the inning off. First of all, it's disgusting that any team cannot score with a guy on second with no outs.
Mm-hmm.
That run should be just basically given to you. So, I mean, I do get how both teams should be able to score. Bunt, sacrifice fly. Both outs, but you get to run home. There's no difficulty in that. Unless you're facing Mariano Rivera, I can't understand how you're not scoring a run that inning. So, to me, that just kills me how they have that rule. For the amount of games that go to that many extra innings, I would love to see a breakdown of that. And maybe in a couple of weeks, you can see if you find that. As far as an extra inning breakdown, how much shorter or longer the games have been. Because, and I always thought it was kind of cool when you used to see one of those strange 18-inning games, because they didn't happen all the time. You'd get a 12-inning game, an 11-inning game, and you'd have that one game that would just stand out that would end up being 21 innings. And it's like, oh my God, did you see the Astros game, or did you see the whatever game it was? And it was pretty cool to see a game that just went a ridiculous amount of time. What do you think?
I think it is fun to see how long you can play, but then again, you got to look at the players because they're playing every single game. Or every single day, I should say. I know some of them are not every day, but then you're still hurting your bullpen. I think it was more to conserve your bullpen, but I definitely agree that I did like the long extra inning games because you didn't see it very often. Plus, you got to see if it went 14 or even in your case 21 innings, you got to see take me out the ball game three times, and it kept the fans entertained. I just think they did this just to conserve the bullpen.
Why don't we just have guys race the freeze? Whatever team beats them, they get the win, or get both teams losses. Who cares? It's stupidity. It's just the baseball.
Well, and what I like about spring training ball is when you go into extras, they actually stop it at the 9th inning and just say, hey, let's have a tie. You know what? I'd be fine with that. But the problem is we in America and Canada like the fact that we have a winner and a loser because we have Toronto in there. We don't like ties for whatever reason.
So give them both losses. Let's say they both lose. Who cares? We're not going to play baseball, have a phantom runner. This isn't, we're not playing in the schoolyard. These guys get paid millions of dollars to win ball games. Nobody wins. We both lose.
You know what? I'd be fine with that too, because typically a loss in, let's say, June, July isn't going to hurt your chances if you're in contention in September. So yeah, I'd be fine with that.
This is all fine until there's a wild card that gets decided by one game, and it was the stupid extra inning rule that lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that. Rob and Freddie, go smile in front of a podium as you're talking about a lockout, and smile when a team doesn't make the playoffs by one game because of a stupid rule with a ghost runner on second. That's really all I got to say about that one.
I completely agree. I mean, we've talked about on the show that we've never liked the ghost runner.
No, it's a horrible rule. So, Cub or dud? 2 All-Stars?
I'm going to have to say dud right now. Dub, I mean, because of the fact that every team is going to get 1 All-Star, and it's going to be Wilson Contreras for us. I could see Ian Happ, but the only problem with him, though, is, yes, he's an outfielder, but you have Mookie Betts, Ronald Acuna Jr., Jock Peterson ahead of him. It's going to be really tough to get him in. I would like to see 2, but I just don't see it.
That's fair. I definitely agree. Where can people find you, Jordan?
Obviously here on the Cubfidential, here on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find me on Twitter at SportsScoop1. I have a blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com. I'm also on the NBA Carousel on Mondays, the NFL Carousel on Thursdays, and I have my own show that's called Under Review that I record on Fridays and post on the network on Saturday.
Stanley Cup log. It was a pleasure. We'll see you back at Confrontation in a little bit.
Sounds good.
All right. Next, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ubbs himself. You don't look like Mr. Ubbs.
Nope.
I think Jay may have fallen asleep. I know it's late.
There we go. There's Jacob. I will get off the screen and I'll see you in a few minutes.
I mean, no. It's not the confrontation yet.
Yes.
No.
Mr.
Let me tell you this, JB. One good thing about you saying puppies a lot is that I'm glad Jerry Lawler wasn't here. Woo! Puppies! Woo! I'm glad he wasn't there for that because he'd get it confused. So, how's your evening?
Doing well. How you doing?
Not too bad. It's like, see, I'm kind of taking a look at this whole thing. Like, I was reading up. Remember, we were talking in social media today, the whole deal, the possibility of losing Kyle Hendricks. We talked about that very early in the year and everything. And I'm like, I'm kind of just preparing for it. It's like, I hate to see it. He's been my very favorite pitcher for 7 years. But this isn't where we get 14 seasons out of our guy anymore. It just isn't. I mean, it's such a rarity to see a Mike Trout and all that out anymore, you know?
Yeah, it's, Hendricks is too inconsistent for me. I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously we saw his stats against the Cardinals, but.
Well, he lost the grip. You got to realize they took away substances on the ball. So you don't have the proper grip. Sometimes you have to make up for the grip. So there's times where he's going to look absolutely like the professor. And then there's times he looks like the Nutty Professor.
The Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
That's a Mr. Ubbs original.
Well, I have lots of originals.
So
go ahead.
Yeah. Wow, we're in sync here. So let's talk about, let's go back. Let's talk a little Mark Grace. First baseman, extraordinaire, great player. What can you tell me about Mark Grace?
Career 303 average. And 9 years out of 15 with a 300 average. 9 years. Led 1995 with doubles at 51. When he was with Don Zimmer early on in his career, he even stole some bases, 14 and 15. By the way, here's what's so funny. We've been talking about the horrible strikeouts, by the Cubs. The most strikeouts he had in his career in one season is 56.
Wow.
Yeah, and which means he had 642 career strikeouts. 600. I mean, in 15 seasons.
That's insane.
Oh, it just means. And then you want to know what I look at? You remember the show Kung Fu?
Yes.
Remember how every bit of his movements were never wasted? Even flow.
Right.
Even flow, everything. That's what Mark Grace was. Beautiful swing. He didn't have any violent movements. He didn't have violent. Yeah. You will see hitters just with torque their body. Like, for instance, Andre Dawson absolutely had a ton of torque on those power hitting. You know what I mean? He's everything that he did, whether it was a double, a triple, home run, a single, everything, was just such an even flow swing. Which also, you got to remember, he averaged about 150 games a year, and then just his times he was off was just a day off. He just never really got injured, so it saved his body.
Yeah, I mean, this may be my favorite stat of all. 42.8 strikeouts per season. You think about that now, a guy like Patrick Wisdom, that's a month, 42.8 strikeouts.
Do you realize why I told you if I was in a baseball scout, they would literally try to kick me out. They would Donald Trump me out of the league. And it's because my kind of guy is that and Kyle Hendricks. And the thing is, it's boring. It may not get to the thing, but do you know something? It never gets hurt. Maybe they have its struggles at times, but you have your thing. It never gets hurt. They're always there. Every single day. It's considered. Yeah, you might have your struggles, but that is sports. You're gonna have your struggles from time to time. And whether Kyle stays or he stays for the year or he gets traded or whatever, he's gonna have a run somewhere because he's too talented. But you get that run when you're always there. You get that run when you're Mark Grace and you're always playing. It's like, and you have a smooth swing, you have no torque, you have no anything. I want to train hitters to not strike out so darn much. I want them to see an eye. You know what I mean?
You remember productive outs?
Yes.
What happened to that? What is so difficult about moving runners over, hitting the ball where where it's thrown? If it's thrown outside, going the other way with it. Well,
remember what I said about Don Zimmer. Don Zimmer liked moving hitters over. He loved moving. Runners over, big time. I mean, you got to realize Mark Grace, not a stolen base guy, still at 14 and 15. He moved him up, and this guy didn't have speed at all. So there are managers that just loved moving them, but the thing is, you don't get. And you would think, Dusty Baker does not move runners at all. He's a Mr. Power guy, and he's 73 years old, 74.
Yeah.
And it's like you would think he'd be the guy that would be one of stolen bases. He's not. It's like it's just there isn't that manager because there's always there's always just that walking on eggshells fear that they're going to get out. They're going to get an unnecessary out. But at the same time, you got to keep moving runners. You got to make everything dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way you put pressure on defenses. I mean, everyone looks at baseball. That's why baseball is probably, we all romanticize with it. It's an old school game because you look at a simple play when you hit a ground ball to third baseman puts his glove down. What does he do? Puts it all the way on the ground. Puts his hand in front of the ball, traps it in the glove, picks it up, throws to first. Very simple, but it's not. There's so much pressure. The guy's running full. When a guy runs full speed, he's got to rush the throw just a little. Throw goes offline. The guy's safe. That's how you put pressure on guys. Nobody plays hard. Nobody plays smart.
Well, I remember looking at this, and we talked about this with the Cardinals. We talked about how you hated them and all that. They're saying the whole thing. There's this one guy they talked about. I forget the guy's name. He's on the Cardinals. Every single time he gets himself a double or a triple, he is absolutely jacking it down the line. Every little thing, and his helmet flies off. That reminds me, we don't see that enough. We don't see that absolute pure hustle out of players. And it's like what I put under there. I said, guys, that's hustle. I know it's a novel concept. When I showed that, it's a novel concept. It's like, yeah, it might be the Cardinals, but guess what? When you were saying, I know you're saying it as a rivalry. That's why I can't hate them. I'd love to see the Cubs get players like this all the time because the Cardinals do all the time.
we will hate the Cardinals until everything is addressed and righted. They will never get a win. I will say yay for.
That is never going to happen.
No, it won't.
No,
it won't.
They just have the most envious front office in the history of life ever, always, and it drives me. It drives me up the wall. I would love As I said, people want to go after the one World Series all the time. Yeah, I got the World Series. My era has seen the most playoffs. Our era, you know what I'm saying? We're within a couple of years. Our era is the most playoffs ever. Our era is the most wins ever outside the 20s. But we got our World Series. Guess what? I'd like to see the playoffs all the time. I'd like to not have these 28-46 records.
So, question for you though, since we talk about playoffs, do you feel though that the playoffs are kind of watered down now with all these teams in the playoffs?
Oh yeah. Everything's going to start being watered down. You got to realize what the NBA is doing with this midseason thing. You know what I'm saying? Everything everything now has to do with making money. It really does. It's like I was reading up, like I'll tell you this. I was reading up today that they were talking about creating, working with Nintendo Go. Pokemon Go, excuse me. They're working with the creators of Pokemon Go to work with Major League Baseball. So
I'm gonna interrupt you. Yeah. With Major League, that's gonna be the new extra inning rule. We're gonna search for Pokemon Go to save relief pitches.
I can see that. Yeah, okay. But no, they're gonna be working with that so they can get people and you get young players and young fans. And it's like that's just what. So guess what? It's not gonna be just stop at 12 teams. We're gonna start seeing 16 teams. We're gonna start seeing 70-win teams in the playoffs. I mean, we're gonna start seeing that. I hate it. I think it's ridiculous. But everybody is just looking just to get people interested. They're not watching sports the way we did in front of the television anymore. It's 3-minute clips on TikTok.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. Speaking of 3-minute clips, let's talk about Nico Horner's hot week. 480 batting average, 5 ribbies.
Notice he didn't say home runs.
Not a power hitter. Middle infielders don't usually do that. That's not usually their thing.
Well, what was that O'Neal Cruz on the 6'7" shortstop? Or what was it? O'Neal? That'd be easily. He's going to be a big power hitter in the shortstop side.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few here or there, but for the most part, there's not many in the middle infield that are power hitters. But what did Nico do this week that brought him such great success? Because I like the kid. I think he's got a lot of talent.
He's figuring it out. He's figuring. For one thing, I joke about the no home runs, but I feel like when I watch him, you get a chance to figure out what you are, and I think he's starting to figure out what he is. Truly, he's not forcing hits. He's not trying to. It's like if he's got to get a dribbler, he's going to get the dribbler. If that's a line drive, he has to line drive. He's figuring it out. Now, the biggest thing that I want to see with hitters like this, it's like this is the same stuff, and I'm just saying this. This is the same stuff that George Brett used to do to get a 390 average. Right. They used to do. It's like, what is the problem? And I'm not saying Nico Horner is ever going to be a George Brett. Don't get that in the wrong statement. What I was bringing up is the difference between the journeyman like a Nico Horner and the legend like a George Brett is next week, Nico Horner is probably going to go 1 for 17, 1 for 25, or 2 for 30 or whatever. I'm just saying that journeyman will have a good week and then he'll go back again because his head will forget what he was doing. And then the minute here's the thing. He was doing it great, and then all of a sudden he'll have a couple of line drive outs. Or a couple of ones where they had good plays, and then all of a sudden he'll get into his head and then he'll start striking out. See, someone like a Pete Rose or a George Brett and all of them, they knew that it was a line drive. They knew it was a lucky break when they were out. They knew it was a good pitch if they struck out the rare times it was. And they just went up to the next time to do the same thing. And that's the difference between the star and the journeyman.
No, I definitely got to agree with you. So where do you see Nico Horner long-term with this team?
I would love to see a couple-year deal. I would love it myself. He's a hard worker. You got to understand, I love the hard worker. I was a fan of Jeremy Burnett's for the 1 year he was here because he hustled every bit up the line. I mean, Nico Horner's a hustler. He works hard every single game. You can tell he wants it and he wants to win. They just don't have enough. So I can see a couple year deal with a good deal.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. I could see him sticking around for sure. So Cub or Dud, 2 All-Stars or no?
Oh, totally. Absolutely 2 All-Stars. I mean, I got Caleb Killiam for the that's going to use it on his potential. Caleb Killiam and then Jan Gomes. No. But no. Nah. I'm going to say Wilson Contreras. He leads most of the team and stuff. But Ian Happ he gets his moments. He gets his moments and he gets in a hot streak, but I don't know if it's enough. And like tonight, he went 0 for 4, 0 for 5 for 2 strikeouts. It's like, for the most part, Contreras has been consistent all year. And then you know what Ian Happ does? He gets in a slow motion and then he starts having to come back again. And it's like, I don't think it's going to be enough to make it.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. So where can people find you?
Well, you're seeing me here right now, Tuesday nights, Cubfidential. The Thursday nights, the Pundits Pundit, where I will have a special guest for my first segment you guys will see. I definitely want you to watch. Sunday nights is Basket Bros. Monday nights during the season is Megan Price's Megan Price's, I'm sorry, but NBA Carousel, thank you. And then NBA Carousel, and then with a surprise, and it's going to start next week, and I will tell you the days real soon. I got 2 shows coming. One is, and if you're with us, hopefully, one is called Wise Guys with Michael Esposito, and hopefully you. And then hopefully you, and then another one, I'm going to have my own interview show. I'm calling it Pundit Views. And I'm going to be interviewing a person a week. It could be somebody from Sideline Sports. It could be a very special guest. So I'm building things up here.
That's awesome. So I'm not going to take you off the screen, Mr. Up. You're going to start us off tonight with.
Of course I am. Of course I am.
With confrontation.
Of course I am.
I'm not sure which side you have, but when I listen, I'll know. I'm going to judge tonight because Mr. Confidentiality is having, cyberspace issues. I think he's being attacked by.
He's just sleeping, you know it.
I think the Russian hackers are after him. Something to do with all sorts of different things he's involved in at Sideline Sports.
Oh yeah.
But who knows?
He's fighting off ninjas right now.
So, confrontation tonight. We have the top question of the night: is David Ross being too loyal to Jason Hayward, the old man on the Cubs? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to win this one also because, come on. Look at how many times I've been right there, Jordan. But no, here's the issue. Here's the issue with this is the fact that getting into the league when you're a rookie, you've come from single A, double A, triple A, and you got to move up. It's like you've now come from a bus, hotels, terrible living, to the best, to the very best of everything. The very best hotels, the very best food, the catering, the everything. That needs a veteran. Oh, by the way, money. How you're going to handle your money. That takes a veteran. By the way, go get a wife. Quit with all the women. That takes a veteran. It takes everything. By the way, a World Series when you're in the 10th inning, you blow a lead and it's a rain delay. That takes a veteran. And the biggest thing that has to be understood is the fact that it's like this is more than wins and losses, especially when a team is in a season like this and it's awful. You get young players who, and then the thing is, like tonight it was 5-0. It was 5-0 and they fell short as 5-3. But those are the types they are gutsy, they're gritty, they'll have their moments and then they strike out. That takes a veteran, to keep them into that thing because they can lose it and they can make it a lot worse. So it is, he can't hit anymore. He's just about 200. It's gone. It's gone. We know what his thing is. But at some point, we have to remember David Ross was once the old man and he was playing part-time. Some point you might have to put Jason Hayward as a very part-time guy, but you need him for the young guys.
All right. So that was Mr. Ubbs. Now we're going to bring in the Stanley Cup guy. Mr. Stanley Cup Long. So, rebut Mr. Ubbs.
The thing about loyalty is, yes, it's great, but what is Hayward doing at the plate? He has a .204 average with 1 home run. So what can he do? He can only help and coach. What does that say to the other players? You're going to have a guy that's a veteran, like Jacob said, just standing there, just trying to help these players? No. You want to help produce a winning team. Unfortunately, Jason Hayward is not. I'd honestly send Hayward packing and send a message to David Ross that changes are coming. What's the point of having Jason Hayward on the roster if he's not going to play? That's loyalty to Jason Hayward and David Ross. Time to send him packing. Why? Because you want changes. We want changes with this baseball team. If you keep him on the team, it shows, yes, you're loyal to him, but what does that also send? It sends you're okay with losing. I'm not okay with losing. Send Jason Hayward packing. He only has one more year left on his deal. Stop being so darn loyal to Jason Hayward. We need changes, and the only way that's going to happen is if David Ross is not loyal to Jason Hayward.
All right, so that was Stanley Cup long rebutting Mr. Ubbs. Mr. Ubbs back for his minute. What do you got here? I'm going to give you full
the
face
team's terrible. Team's terrible. Team is garbage. We already know this. We know he's not doing anything to play, but who else is? I mean, we're looking at a season where we're going to probably lose we're going to probably lose Kyle Hendricks. We're probably going to lose Wilson Contreras. Might lose Happ. We're going to get a bunch of rookies. We're going to see Killian get bombed unless they put him as a closer. We're going to see a bunch of things. When you have a bunch of young players like this and a bunch of roll around, a bunch of injuries and that stuff, you need the guy. You need the guy. You need the guy on that bench. You need him to play. And here's the thing: he might be a good coach, and we don't know it. He might. The physical thing. I mean, remember, he's getting old. He's hurting. He might be a physical. He might be a physical, but he's still got the mind. And with everything he's helping with the kids and with everything like that, he's still good for that case. And remember, that is exactly what Ross remembers when he was in that case too. So absolutely be loyal and finish the year out. And then, well, who knows about finishing the contract or finishing? It's only 1 year left anyway after this. So go with it.
All right, Mr. Ubbs. Good argument, but this guy's came out swinging. He's going to go out without a fight, or are you going to win this? Let's see.
The thing about loyalty, yes, you can be loyal, but what has he done to the team? He's a veteran, yes. Sure, he has the encouragement for the team, except for, I want to get younger. You don't need the loyalty. Let him go. You keep him. What message does that send? That you're okay with losing. Yes, we know it's been a tough season. Changes are going to happen, so why not let Jason Hayward go at this point? That way he can mentor another team. Maybe even win another ring. It's just time to let him go and stop with the loyalty because the Cubs aren't going to go anywhere. Might as well get some for Jason Hayward and let the loyalty go because it's not working. Yes, he has a mentor, but what message does that send? We need production, and Jason Hayward is not producing. End of story. Stop being loyal.
All right. Stanley Cup long versus Mr. Confidentiality. I'm going to get some. I'm saying Mr. Ubbs. Mr. Confidentiality being attacked by the Russian hackers at the moment, losing his internet service. So I'm going to pick the winner tonight. Unfortunately, this guy had a great week. He won the Stanley Cup. He won the Cubfidential. It's not looking good for Mr. Ubb. He'll have to come back and win next week. But, great argument. I think Hayward is done at this point, but I don't think it necessarily hurts Ross. But I think, I definitely see where you're coming from. But you both made some great points. Jordan, congratulations on another victory. Mr. Ubbs, I expect you to see you back in the W column next week. But thank you so much, Jordan. We'll see you next week. Before we go, I just want to say, it's a holiday weekend. Monday, Independence Day, our nation's birthday. 240-something years we've been in this country, and it's been the United States of America. We've seen many things change. Change is constant. Sometimes it's for the good. Sometimes it's for the bad. It's not always what I like, not always what you like. But we have to remember one thing. We have things in this country that we don't see anywhere else in the world. We have freedoms that nobody else have. People lose their lives trying to get to this country because of the freedoms we have. So while you're out there celebrating, having a beer, having a hot dog, think about what we have and why it's so special. Whether you agree or disagree politically with what's happening, think of how lucky we are to be here and to see what's happening and to live in this time. And if you're not happy with what's happening, figure out how you can make a change, because we all have that ability to make a change. But, take time, reflect, be thankful, be safe, enjoy your family and friends. Have a great weekend. Jordan Long will be hosting next week. I look forward to watching the show. It was a pleasure. Great job. We had Mr. Up, Stanley Cup Long, Mr. Cubfidentiality, and, of course, Jen and the 2 new additions to Sideline Sports, those cute little puppies. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you next week.